Thank you so much, Susie, for giving us that perspective, helping us to understand not just the journey of NICE, but the role it plays in that broader ecosystem that Randy would have told us that we need to build and we need to strengthen as we move forward. At this time, help me make welcome someone who is no stranger to cybersecurity and the field of cyber workforce development, MK Palmore. He's the founder and principal advisor of Apogee Global RMS. MK?
Good morning, everyone. Can't go anywhere without the technical advancements, right? First, let me start off with thanking the team at FIU and certainly the planning committee for inviting me to this very special and important conference. Special nod to Randy. I'm not sure if I was his first choice, but when the call came out, I answered because this is a group that certainly I would like to be in front of. The NICE framework gave our entire profession a shared language at a time that it was desperately needed, turned a scattered set of jobs into a genuine community with common purpose, and it's an honor to be invited to speak at the conference. As indicated, my name is MK Palmore. I'm the founder and principal advisor at Apogee Global RMS. It's an enterprise risk management firm. Let me start with a confession that might be unusual for someone who spends their time and days in the risk landscape. I'm actually an optimist about artificial intelligence. Not a cautious one, a genuine optimist. I believe AI is the most significant opportunity defenders have been handed in a generation, and that wielded well, it can change our outcomes in ways we have wanted for 20 years and never quite obtained. I'm going to hold that optimism throughout the entire talk, but I'm also going to do something uncomfortable with it because I think we're at real risk of squandering it. Let me earn the right to push on you just a little bit. I started my career as a commissioned officer in the United States Marine Corps. Any other veterans in the room? Hoorah. And then went on to spend a career, 22 years in fact, as a special agent at the Federal Bureau of Investigation, before serving in executive roles at Palo Alto Networks and Google Cloud. And in every one of those environments, I watched the same pattern occur again and again. We're a profession that, with even our best intentions in place, has a habit of emphasizing the wrong things. We chase the tool instead of the outcome. We measure activity instead of the risk. We did it with the firewall. We did it with SIM. We did it with cloud. And we are about to do it again with AI. So this morning, I want to redirect your attention to two things. The first is the practitioner, which is the whole focus of this particular conference. And what we want to do with the practitioner is genuinely make them better at their jobs with the tools that we have in hand. The second is a question that I want most of you to carry out of this room, and that is, how are you examining the risk to your enterprise? Because I'm going to make the case that the old ways of answering that question will no longer be enough to keep you and your enterprise safe. And the thing that connects all of it, the thing that decides whether AI elevates the profession or just accelerates our oldest mistakes, it has a name: judgment, human judgment, applied to powerful tools aimed at the right question. Let me show you the wrong emphasis in action. Most of the energy in our profession around AI is being spent on the wrong argument. Can we trust it? And the argument splits the room into two camps, and both of them are getting it wrong. The first camp, under trust. They hold the tool at arm's length, route around it, wait for it to be perfect. And in doing so, they forfeit the very thing I just told you I'm optimistic about. Every month, a capable practitioner does not learn to leverage these tools in a month of better outcomes left on the table. Under trust is not caution. It is opportunity cost, and our adversaries are not paying it. The second camp, overtrust. They adopt fast and supervise nothing. The machine is right often enough that they stop checking. And then it's wrong at the one moment that mattered. That is reckless, and it hands the first camp all of the ammunition that they might need. Here's what both camps miss. The answer was never to trust the tool more or to trust it less. The answer is to build the practitioner who can calibrate. One who knows in a live moment exactly how much weight a given output deserves and why. Calibration is not a feeling about technology, it's a learnable skill. And it's the skill that lets you adopt boldly and safely at the same time. So let me redefine the gap everyone's naming. The real gap is not between us and some future most trustworthy AI. The real gap is between the power of these tools already have to improve our outcomes and our readiness as practitioners to wield them well. That gap does not close with a better model. It closes with better prepared people, which makes it a workforce question, and that's exactly why I'm glad to be in this room. Now to the question I most want you to leave with. How are you examining the risk to your enterprise today? Because the tools are only as good as the question we point them at, and most of us are still pointing them at the wrong question. Here's the picture most enterprises still use. Risk lives in boxes, cyber risk here, owned by security, physical and operational risk there, owned by safety and facilities, human capital, the workforce, treated as a personnel matter in another building. 3 boxes, 3 owners, 3 budgets. We built our entire risk apparatus, our registers, our committees, our reporting around the assumption that these boxes are separate. In an AI-augmented world, that assumption is the thing that will get you and your enterprise hurt. We call the alternative the nexus of risk. And the thesis is simple. Cyber, physical, and human risk live in an interconnected space. And your most serious exposure doesn't live inside any box. It lives in the spaces between them, where no single owner is looking. Here's what the conventional approach cannot show you, because it's built to add risk up. Risk at the intersection is not additive, it's amplified. A failure where 2 or 3 domains meet actually propagates in directions no single domain owner ever modeled, because none of them were watching the scene. The risk register with the neat rows is structurally blind to your most dangerous exposure, because that exposure does not fit in a row. The old way of examining risk is not just incomplete, it's confidently pointed in the wrong direction. Now, here's where my optimism comes back, because it's exactly where AI changes the game for us as practitioners. The reason we managed risk in boxes for so long is that no human being could hold the whole interconnected picture in their head. There was too much, moving too fast, across too many domains. That limitation is the one AI was born to break. Wielded well, these tools let a practitioner finally see across the seams, correlate across domains, and examine enterprise risk as the single connected system it always has been. AI doesn't just create risk at the intersections. It is the first tool powerful enough to help us govern it. So, throughout the idea that the workforce is adjacent to technology, a support function that runs the tools. In an AI-augmented world, the human capital tier is the control surface. It's the one layer where cyber, physical, and human converge, and where a prepared practitioner with the right tools and the right question can actually intervene. The workforce is not where we react to risk, it's where we examine it and where we either win or lose. So if the goal of the practitioner who can leverage these tools is to examine risk in a new way, the question becomes more concrete. What must the practitioner be able to do? And here again, I think we're emphasizing the wrong things. The dominant move in workforce development, or at least it was before the downturn in the economy, was volume. More cyber professionals, filling a pipeline. We thought volume matters. If you need folks, hire them, bring new people onto the team. But volume trained the old way just gives us more people pointing powerful tools at the wrong picture of risk. What we actually need are three capabilities that turn the tool user into a force-multiplied practitioner. These are not soft skills. They are not a fear of AI seminar. They are how you genuinely get better at the job. The first is decision-making, under speed and consequence, what the program calls ethical decision-making. With AI in the loop, a practitioner can now move faster and reach further than ever before. That's the upside. The skill is knowing how to direct that power. Should this AI-recommended autonomous response fire when it may take the hospital service offline? Do we act on output we cannot fully explain because the threat is moving faster than verification? The practitioner who can reason through that, weigh the harm, document the basis, and own the call is not slowed down by AI. They are amplified by it because they are spending their judgment where it counts and letting the machine carry the rest. And that is teachable, deliberately in the gray before the incident. The second, AI governance. Governance is not what slows adoption down. Governance is what lets you adopt boldly. We're not short on frameworks. The NIST AI risk management framework, the ISO 42001, the EU AI Act, ongoing OMB guidance, in multiple states now taking a stand on where AI stands within their digital stack and posture. We are drowning in them. What we lack is translation. The practitioner who knows that one line of the AI risk management framework actually changes everything that they are about to do. When a practitioner knows what the system may decide on its own, what it may not, and where the audit trail lives, governance stops being a binder and becomes the thing that lets them lean in with confidence instead of fear. Governance is the seatbelt that lets you drive fast. The third is algorithmic transparency. And the skill is disciplined skepticism. Not the type of skepticism that rejects the tool. Skepticism that lets you rely on it. The practitioner who can ask, how would I know if this were wrong? What is this model not seeing? Where is the bias and who does it harm? Is the practitioner who can actually trust the output. This is trust and verify. And it's what makes bold adoption responsible rather than reckless. We don't need everyone to become a data scientist. We need everyone to stop being a passive consumer of a machine's conclusions and start being an informed pilot of them. Let me speak directly to the folks in this room who've participated in building frameworks, because you're not bystanders. You build these frameworks, the rest of the field runs on. You decide what competency even is and where it lies. So here's the honest thing. The frameworks we are proud of, the ones that map task, knowledge, and skills to work roles, were built for the world of boxes. They do not yet adequately carry these three capabilities, and they do not yet teach a practitioner to examine risk across the nexus. With real care, we're preparing people with precision for a picture of risk that is dissolving underneath of them. That's not a criticism of the work. It's actually an opportunity to get in front of it. Because these are exactly the things this community can define, and only this community can define. New skill statements for leveraging AI and for algorithmic skepticism. Work roles that carry AI oversight and cross-domain risk examination as named responsibilities, not footnotes. Decision-making under pressure, taught, assessed, and required. If we define these deliberately, we hand the entire field a workforce that can wield the most powerful tools we have ever had, pointed at the right picture of risk. If we do not, the field will improvise it inconsistently after the incident that finally makes it undeniable. We get to choose, and I would rather we choose on purpose now, while we're early, than let the next breach choose for us. Let's put the human back at the center of this discussion, because my optimism about AI has never been about the optimism of machines replacing human judgment. It's just the opposite. Picture the tool and the practitioner as an arch. AI is doing more of the load-bearing work than ever before, and that's a good thing. But every arch has a keystone, the single piece that holds the whole structure together. And in this profession, that keystone is human judgment. Not as a backstop for when the AI fails, as the thing that aims the AI in the right direction in the first place. That decides which question to ask, which risk to examine, which action is acceptable, and who answers for it. And a keystone has to be able to bear the load. This is essentially the one hard line of the morning. We cannot place a practitioner at the top of an AI-augmented operation, hand them tools of enormous power, and send them up there without the competencies the position now demands. Presence is not the same as oversight. A practitioner who cannot question the tool or who is aimed at the wrong picture of risk is not leveraging AI. They are exposed by it. Our job is to build the keystone strong enough to carry what we are about to place on it. So where does trust finally land? I started this off by telling you about my optimism. And let's be precise about what I trust here. I do not put my trust in the model alone, and I would not ask you to do that either. I put it in the whole system, the powerful tool, the trained practitioner who's going to wield it and question it, and the governance that frees them to move fast. That is not distrust of AI. It's actually the most pro-AI position that you can take, because it's the only one that lets you adopt the technology fully. Trust is not faith in the machine, it's confidence in the practitioner and the machine working as one, aimed at the right question. Change what you emphasize. Stop measuring tools and activity. Start building practitioners who leverage AI to be better and who examine risk across the whole of the enterprise. Make human judgment the keystone and build it strong enough to bear the load. Examine your risk as one connected system, cyber, physical, and human together, because the old way of looking at the boxes will no longer be enough to keep you and the enterprise safe. Here's the truth. Securing the future is not, at its core, an engineering problem. It's a workforce problem wearing an engineering costume. The tools will keep getting more powerful, whether we act or not. The only variable still genuinely in our hands is whether the people who wield them are ready and aimed at the right risk. And that is the most hopeful thing I can say to you. Because a technology problem might be out of your control. A workforce problem is exactly what the people in this room were built to solve. You are not too late. The frameworks are not finished, which means you still get to write them. The tools have never been more powerful, which means your people have never had more leverage. You are not behind, you are early if you move now. So, go and do the work that is actually yours, the work that belongs to you. Build practitioners who wield these remarkable tools with judgment. Teach them to ask the only question that matters. How are you examining risk in the enterprise? And give them an answer strong enough for the world we are actually walking into, because the old one will not hold. Be the people who did that on purpose. Thank you for your time, and enjoy the rest of this very important conference.